So welcome to the 33rd Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. The quote of the week today is, your time is limited, but don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. Steve Jobs quote. We have upcoming meetups. August 10th, Architecture 101 with Adam Smith. August 17th, Table View Controller. And on August 24th, we're going to be covering, O'Neill's going to be covering instruments for profiling. No pro tip this week, we've got a lot to cover. Housekeeping, so this is the Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. You can find us on meetup.com/Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. We're very lucky to be here at the iLab. Still, if you're interested in becoming a member with HICapacity, you can go to our HICapacity.org membership page. Bit of an update on the bathroom, since we're at a new location. The bathroom is now to the left of the iLab, right behind us right now. I wanted to share the following free tools, as usual. Spectacle app is great for doing window management, and then also Screen Hero is great for pairing. If you're interested in using it, you can come and be a member. Hey, how's it going?
Hello. Hi.
And so today's agenda is we're going to go through introductions. And then we are going to cover tonight's discussion topic, which is ARKit. Are you Colin?
I am.
Hi, Colin. I'm David.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. We just got started. It's really up to you. I talk pretty loud, so. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Easier.
Okay. So tonight's discussion topic is ARKit. But before we get into that, let's cover introductions. And so here's a list of introductions, or of topics to talk about for the introduction. So did anyone want to go first? Che.
Okay, I'm Che. I'm a developer, iOS developer for about at least 5-6 years. I'm currently working on a project called EcoCube. We're going to be in beta within 2-3 weeks. It's a resource management app. I've been working from Swift 1 to up to 4 right now. I have an interest in ARKit as well.
Nice. Thanks, Che. Thanks for being here. Anybody want to go next for introductions?
Sure.
Colin?
I'm Colin McDonald, and I'm here primarily not so much for coding, but to really just see what all is involved. If we wanted to hire people to do ARKit work for us,
Okay.
I work for the university,
Okay.
and my programming is from years and years and years and years ago.
Okay.
So,
All right. Thanks for being here, Colin. Appreciate it. Jesse, you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Jesse. I'm with HICapacity. I also work at the med school doing HoloLens development and some other 3D virtual reality development. We work with a display called ZSpace. I'm here to help out set the stream. And
Appreciate it, Jesse.
HICap is getting more involved with iLab, so that's why iOS Meetup is here now.
All right.
And I'm also interested in ARKit, so it's a nice excuse to get here early.
Thanks for being here, Jesse.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, we're just doing introductions. So you can have a seat. I'll go next. My name is David Neely. I am the organizer of the Hawaii iOS Developer Meetup. I'm originally from Manoa. Right now I'm working on some physics-based cars. I was stuck on ARKit, but I really had the opportunity over the past week to really dive into it with some tutorials, and it was a great experience. Recent win for me has been, I guess, working my way through the ARKit tutorials. And besides programming and computers, I'm interested in gardening. Did you want to go for an introduction next?
Sure.
Great.
My name is Nathaniel. I actually moved to the island about 3 months ago from San Francisco. I've been in technology all my life. I started programming when I was 11. And early adopter of Java, C++, and C back in the 70s. Very interested in AR. Got all my devices up to iOS 11. The problem with my notebook, so I'm ready today. I got a HoloLens just to try that out. It's pretty interesting, the Microsoft AR thing. Can't wait for Apple's Maker.
Yeah.
And mostly I work with supercomputers built out of GPU systems. And so some of this could be applicable to that in the future.
Oh yes, definitely. I've been reading about that because I'm interested in that machine learning area too.
Yeah, so I do a lot of machine learning and actually apply it to financial markets and trading.
Good. Thanks for being here. Adam, you want to go next?
Hey.
Hey, we were doing introductions.
Oh.
Go for the introduction?
I'm Adam. I'm an iOS developer. I'm a little late because I thought this was a maintenance hut.
Oh, shoot.
Every building around it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, I can see that because for a while too, before.
No.
Yeah.
But so yeah, since the last meeting, I've been keeping up my daily live streaming of iOS studying, basically.
Nice.
And I took your advice. I started multi-streaming, so I'm on Twitch and YouTube Live.
Oh, nice. I want to get the URL from you.
I will, yeah, I'll send it to you after.
Right on.
That's been a good experience. It really forces you to, when you give a daily lecture, essentially, you have to really make yourself structure everything. So it's been a really good learning experience.
That's nice. And so Adam will also be doing the Architecture 101 talk next week for iOS.
Very useful, especially when you're writing large apps like Mice, which has over 800, 900 files. Please start board, yeah. If you architect it wrong, you're going to have pains.
Okay.
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Have you ever successfully developed iOS apps using Java? There's not a lot of good options.
I think there's some technical issues, that's why.
There's something out there called the multi-OS engine that looks like it works, but everything's a pain to deal with.
Yeah, because part of it is it's the architecture like that, because you would have to do JNI calls and stuff like that, and that's a pain.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So thanks for the introductions. Thank everyone for your time and being here. Are there any questions to start off, just in terms of ARKit before we dive into the demo? Okay, let's just dive in. I think everyone knows what ARKit is here, so let's just go in. Today what we're going to be covering is this tutorial by Jared Davison. I really like his tutorials because the pace of his tutorial is great, and also he enunciates very well. So we'll be covering this tutorial. If you're interested in just following this part along, that's the one that I posted up to the Meetup page. So I'm actually just going to dive right in. You can see my notes right here. And first of all, show what we're going to be creating. Who has not seen the tutorial that we're going to go over tonight? Yeah. Okay, great. So I'm just going to show a quick video of the end of this tutorial to show what he's building. So he's basically built an AR app that he can place a 3D model into 3D space. So he's just tapping, touches began, and he's just adding a little white sphere. So you can see he moves the camera around and the sphere stays in place. So we're planning to do that tonight. Any questions or comments before we get started? Okay, here we go. All right, so we have all of this that we're going to be following. So let's start out with a new Xcode project. I'm rocking the Xcode 9 beta, and I've got iOS 11 installed on my phone. So in order to actually show some of these things, I can't use a simulator. So I will be building to this and then walking up to that webcam to really show it so everyone can see. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new project. I've got it all completed right here. So I'll use this on the side. Usually I have two screens, but there's one right now, so we'll do this. All right, so we're starting a new Xcode project. And we are using the new augmented reality app piece. Let's call this one ARKit Jared Davison. I'll zoom in so you guys can see a bit. 002. And for this one, we can use different content technologies. We can use SceneKit, SpriteKit, or Metal. I can comment on the first two, but I can't comment on Metal because I don't have any experience with Metal. Che, I don't know if you wanted to comment or anything about that. Or?
Okay. Metal is their basically their bare metal programming interface like DirectX 12, which allows you to have direct access to compute and graphics with less overhead than, let's say, OpenGL. But it is a bit intimidating to use, and there's quite a bit of boilerplate you have to know. So most cases, and besides, both SceneKit and SpriteKit have it's already built on top of Metal, so if you don't need to use the features of Metal directly, use the other two.
Better to use what they've built for you.
Exactly, unless you really need or want to experiment or want to do deep down like I want to. I'm starting to learn it, but it has a fairly steep learning curve.
Thanks for sharing that, Che. The other two things I want to talk to make distinctions between SceneKit and SpriteKit is that SceneKit is a 3D modeling capabilities inside of iOS. SpriteKit is for 2D not modeling, but 2D sprite movement. So for this, since we're working in a 3D space and we're working with what's going to be a 3D green sphere, we're going to pick SceneKit here. So I pick SceneKit. I'm going to zoom out so we can see this again. And I'm just going to click on Next. Just building it right in a regular iOS folder. It's creating an automatic Git repository for me. And so this is built right now. So has anyone built in iOS augmented reality app yet in iOS?
This. I've used this
you've done this one.
Press run.
Okay, so let's do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build it to this device, and then I'm going to walk up over here to show this demo that's created by Apple just creates a spaceship in the middle of the world, and then you can actually go around it and look at it from different views. So I'm just going to build it to my device right now, and we'll go from there. So just building it out. I'm going to let it run, and then I am going to unplug and bring it up there. Okay, so we can see it's running, and now it's still waiting. Okay, there it is. Okay, so that's run. I'm going to stop it on my device now, and I'm going to unplug, and then I'm going to come up here to this so I can just show it. Just kind of cards on the table. This is the first time we're meeting at the iLab, so we're still working out the way that we're actually presenting. So I'm bringing up what I just built right now, and we can see with this view. Shoot, I'm just going to bring this down. I'm going to change the icon. Oh, perfect. So what we have here, I'm actually going to start it over. And here we go. So I'm just in right here on my iPhone. I'm not sure how to do this here. But we can see that. And then I'm going to just move it up, and there should be a spaceship placed inside of the world right there. So you see it right there? So we could actually come around it, and we see it from different views.
I don't think the camera's centered on the device.
But that's basically what we're going to do. That's the demo that comes with it. So our first step is that ship is going to get in the way, so let's delete it out of our project. So that's our next step. So let's head over to the view controller. And this is really where we're going to be touching all the code. This is going to be a very lightweight coding example, so we're just going to stay right in view controller. So I'm going to move these windows out of the way a bit, and then I'm going to just scroll down a bit. So I see that I have the ship right here. It's an SCN file. I don't want it in there, but I don't want to delete the scene. So I'm going to go over to the art assets, and I'm just going to delete the ship right here. See, it's a 3D model. I'm just going to delete it. Now I saved it. I go back to view controller, and when I run the app, the ship will no longer be there. But then how are we going to show 3D models in space? Let's switch over to the notes. And so what we've done so far is we created a new Xcode project. I don't know can you guys see that, or is it maybe a bit bigger? Okay, let's go full screen and make it a lot bigger. Okay, so we've done this. We've created a new project of a type AR kit where we've selected SceneKit. We mentioned that it's for 3D objects and AR. Next, I did want to direct your attention to the view controller, and we're going to only be updating two things in this view controller. We're going to be updating the method view will appear, and then we're also going to be adding a method touches began. So let's start out with the view controller in view will appear. What I want to do here is I want to kind of showcase just how easy Apple has made it for us to do AR. In that, inside of this method right here, view will appear, we have basically two lines, and this is fantastic. With this specific call right here of AR world tracking session configuration, that does two things. It takes the camera, and it also takes the motion sensor on the phone. So picture it this way, is that you're in space and your phone is right here. Wherever your phone initializes in the AR session, that means that the AR session that Apple creates will build AR all around that specific physical space. So all of that is done with this single line right here. And then on line 40 right here, all we do is run the configuration. That's it. Super easy setup. Any questions on that one? Okay, we're moving on. So we've taken care of the view did load portion. And next, we're going to move on to the touches began. So what we did, I'm going to go back to our code right here. And what we did, we just added a function, or we haven't added it yet, sorry. It's in the other code.
I'm sorry, would you be able to,
sure.
Can you make the font a little bit bigger?
Sure, sure. On the in Xcode.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. There we go.
There we go, thank you.
Yeah, easy
Okay.
to see.
Yeah, these are a lot further away. Okay, so we covered view will appear, and next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste the code so you guys don't have to wait for me to type this stuff out. I've got the completed project here, and I'm just going to copy this touches began, and we'll just go over the code. So it's going to be these two methods right here. I've copied those. I'm going to head back over to our new file, and I am just going to paste it in. Hey Tyler, how's it going?
Taylor.
I am going to just paste it in right, let's just keep it all very close.
Yeah.
So right here.
Easier.
This is full screen on my screen too. Okay, so let's start out with the code. I'm going to just compress these, Xcode 9, change that keyboard configuration. Okay, so we did view will appear. Next we're going to go touches began. So this is just a method that comes with iOS that allows you to track whenever someone touches the screen. So touches began gets called when someone touches the screen. Did you have something to say, Jay?
No.
Okay. So anytime that someone touches the screen, touches began gets called. Inside of this one, what we're doing is, and if I'm going too fast, please let me know. If I'm going too slow, let me know. What we're doing here is we're getting all the touches that the iPhone is sensing, and we're getting the first touch that it senses. Then with that touch, we're checking against the scene view that's been created inside of SceneKit to figure out if SceneKit knows through the ARKit technology if there is a feature point that's been established. So that could be like a point in 3D space. So your phone can tell that's 3 feet away from me, or this is 1 foot away from me. That's like a feature point that's been created. So what we want to do is we want to get the fingers coordinates on the glass to correspond with the AR feature point. And once we do that, we need to get that hit result that we have right here. That's the last touch that it sensed. And we need to transform that touch on this 2D device to a 3D world coordinate. And that's what this is doing right here.
Yep.
We're transforming this coordinate into a SceneKit matrix 4. After we do that, what we need to do is we need to get out each of these elements. So this corresponds to the X position, this corresponds to the Y position, and the Z position. So we have those three, and we can tell where this thing is. Now that we have that position inside of the SceneKit, we're able to call this method that we've created right here, createBall. Any guesses what this does? And we feed it a position so that SceneKit knows exactly where it should be adding this ball that it's creating. So let's go in. We're almost done, guys. We're very close to being done with all of this code already. So let's go into createBall. All we're doing here is very basic SceneKit stuff. Is we're creating a ball shape of a radius 0.05, and then we're assigning that shape to a node right here. And then I just threw this in right now because in Jared's tutorial, the ball that he created was very tiny and white, kind of difficult to see. So I made the ball a bit bigger and green in this case. So we made it green right here, and then we have positioned it with the position that's fed in, and then we just add it to the scene, and that's it. So before I show it, does anyone have any questions? Is anything unclear? Or? Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to build it to my device now. Cancel out this one we were running already. And right now I am just going to make sure I can see all this stuff. Choosing the device and building and running. So we're going to just wait for this up here. Very fast, very nice. Then after I get this built on my phone and running, I'm going to shut it down, unplug my phone, and then go back up to the camera. So it's built, I'm stopping it, I'm gonna unplug, and we'll go back up here. So does anyone want to, the cord's kind of not that long, but does anyone want to just select a place to put this virtual green ball? Just, if you guys want to have any kind of feedback, how about one maybe right here?
Yeah, right
Does
there.
it work? And
Yeah.
we'll do one maybe right here too.
Yeah.
One on the screen.
One on the screen too?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it. Yeah, right. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I'll show you guys from initialization. So keep in mind that wherever we have the phone physically in physical space, that is where it will start to initialize its views and build things from. Right. So what I'm going to do is, sorry, get up my nose. Let's see. So I'm bringing up the app. It's being initialized right now. So we see it right there. Okay, what I want to do is I want to give the phone a few more points to look at so it can kind of find itself in physical location. So I'm just letting, I'm sorry guys, I'm letting it see just kind of this stuff, like it scan it, figure out what's what, and then we said that we wanted to put it one right here, right? Like that just set contrast. Yeah. Okay. I think it's enough positions right there, but let's just point it right here, and I'm gonna just tap. Shoot, sorry. Okay. I'm just gonna tap right here to create a ball. Wait for it to come up. There we go. So you see the ball right there?
Yeah.
So it looks like it's just like overlay, right? But check this out. I can actually like move around and the ball stays there. Which is pretty awesome.
That is so cool. Wow.
And then how about this too? It's like, what if this ball wants to have a friend? I'll put a ball right next to him. Oh, it's a little too high up there, right? Oh shoot, sorry. Okay, we're way too close to the ball. But you can see how they exist right there. And they maintain.
The positioning.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. We just very, very little code, but we were able to do all that stuff.
So is it the outline that's green? Like what?
The ball itself, so
It looks pretty what? Oh,
Yeah,
It's
just
green.
3D
So what's the artifact of the camera? Okay.
Yeah, because of the, like, from the camera.
That's not a great webcam.
Yeah.
So I'll put this one back up here, and so that was, I actually have 2 demos prepared for tonight. We can go to the next one, which would also incorporate computer vision, which is really awesome.
Yeah, let's
Or
go.
we can just talk ARKit, maybe possibilities or questions.
Are you open to passing your phone around for group?
Yeah. Why not?
Maybe next time.
All right.
I appreciate the ask though. But yeah, any other questions?
Question.
Sure.
So some of those balls appear like they showed up floating in space.
Correct.
That's not really the desired effect. You should
No.
be placing it on the surface that's detected.
Right.
There's some,
I believe that we'd probably get better placement if we had better lighting. Like I actually turned off these lights so it'd be easier on our eyes.
reflective surfaces probably confuse.
Yeah.
Part of the
Absolutely.
API, you get plane detection.
Yeah, you get plane
So
detection.
you can. I think you have to go another step deeper to actually determine what that plane is, and then you can place it right where the plane intersection.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's placing it where your phone is when you tap it.
Well, not.
Or is
I believe that it's placing it, if it sees a feature point that's maybe, let's say, 10 feet away, and you tap it, it will place it 10 feet away from you. It won't be up here. It's
Yeah.
not.
So the iPhone 8 with the lasers maybe will get better.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
So I just, and it brings up one thing you mentioned, the HoloLens. They actually have a device that is being kickstarted called the Meetup Prism, and it is for augmented reality. It looks similar to the HoloLens, but it supports a iPhone 6, 6S Plus, and 7. So you actually place it inside of your visor, and then there's this hood that comes over that projects onto it. So it's interesting. It's $99, but it's really something to. I'll probably get one, which is cool. Yeah. Any other questions?
Interesting.
Okay. I'm gonna shift it up. Just check how much time we have right now. So we're at 6:22.
So does it also have a number of primitives in it? Because I know you were calling ball shape there.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
We created those ourselves.
Okay.
But we can import. I'm not sure what file formats it supports. I know DAE is one.
DAE and a few others. Just gotta look at, yeah.
Did I answer your question?
Question.
Sure.
Presumably there's some way in the API to extract out information about the 3D
Right,
world.
right.
Do you know anything about that part of the API?
I do not know. I can give you guys a bit of leads on stuff if you want to go deeper into this. So it's all open source software, and I'll just show you right now. So it's Awesome iOS, and it's right here. It's on GitHub. Just Google for awesome AR kit. Search for here, and what this guy has done on his GitHub page is he's created a list of resources that's pretty fantastic, that he's listed it out by projects, articles, and resources. All of the projects, I believe, are open source, so you can just dig into all this code. They even have an AR Tetris, which looks pretty awesome. And then they also have articles. So in preparing for this talk today, I really looked through all of these articles, picked out the best ones. I know measuring apps are really huge, but that would be kind of fiddly. So I picked one that we could really get our teeth into. One really interesting one that stuck out to me, and I'm up for doing this one if you guys are interested, was the combination of ARKit and computer vision. So let's start at the top of the tutorial. It's not that long. We can do it in the time that we have right now. It's up to you guys. But what we're doing is we're getting to the point where we could actually stick our iPhone's camera at, let's say, something in our house, and with computer vision, we're able to label these in 3D. It's nuts. So I haven't actually built on my phone. If we don't get to actually programming, we could do that, and just so you guys can see how it works. Just when me and Shay were sitting here right before the iOS meetup, I pointed it at this bottle right here, and it says soda bottle, pop bottle.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. So
it's a combination of ARKit plus the vision.
Yep. So we can do that. We can go through this tutorial, or we can just freely. So you want to do it?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Should we do it? Let's do it. Okay. So, so another question on this one. Would you like me to build it going through the tutorial, or do you want to just look at the finished code, just seeing it operating, and I can kind of just pinpoint stuff that's interesting? Finished?
Yeah, finished.
Finished? Okay, let's do it. So I'm just going to open up that project right now. Let's see, I think it's 3. I'm just going to double check on this one. Okay, so I have the Inception version 3 machine learning model that's been created. You can download it from Apple. I'm also going to just say for anyone who's on the stream that in order to get to this, you can just copy this URL, but this is also linked directly from the awesome AR kit. It's going to be right here, this last one in the articles. So I'll get back to the code, and I'll just briefly talk about it. So let's start off with let's see, where were the changes? So let's start off with the view controller, because that's what we did last time. Bring this one down, start at the top. And for this one, we've imported ARKit. This is just a scene view thing that we've done before. I'm going down to the most interesting stuff. Again, we have the simple configuration, the simple run right here on line 43. And then the interesting stuff happens right inside of, where was it? Sorry. It was inside of the logic.swift file right here. So I'm going to the top on this one so we can kind of trace through. And right here in Touches Began, this is the one. So we just go through it. Ryan's talk on threading from one of the past meetups was really helpful with this one. We're using the dispatch queue right here. Yep. We are creating the model with the Inception version 3 model that we imported from Apple, that we've downloaded, that they have freely available. It's about 98 megabytes. And then we make a request with a completion handler that creates its own, or starts another thread. Right. And then, let's see. What it is doing here is it is creating a classification from the image that it has taken a picture of. Then it is resizing the label that it's about to create before putting it into the scene by creating an anchor and then attaching it to that anchor. And
is it a 3D label?
It's a 2D label, I believe.
2D
yeah.
label, okay.
Let me just, I'm not sure how I'd be able to double check that, but in 3D space, yeah. You know, I think this one, I'm just going to go to the tutorial just to get the absolute answer on this one. Let's see. All right, he's using SpriteKit, so this is going to be the 2D one, so it's a 2D label. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I mean, that's all there is to really talk about it. Then there's a file that you add in, this AR bridge, and that's pretty much it. So do you want to actually see it working? Do you have an idea of something that you want to check it against? Like anything it would be able to like, this is this. This is Jay.
Yourself.
Glasses. Yeah, glasses would be great. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I will take a picture of the glasses, we'll show that it has the label, and then I'll walk through, like, just so you guys can see it, or if you want to huddle there, and then after that I'll show it to the people on the stream, and we'll go from there. So I've got it built on my phone already, and I am just going to picture the glasses. So there you go. So that looks like a pretty good picture of the glasses, right? You want to know that. And now that it has that, so you saw I just added the label, right? Yeah. So we need to, this one adds it in the space. We're going to have to walk back just to see the label. And I'm actually going to go landscape view just so you can see more. So what does it believe that this is? That's a flaw.
I need different ones.
We can do Chain's bottle though? That one can show. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to need to restart it right now because there's no hole. Yeah, so we're going for 3. So let's take it. That looks like glasses, huh?
I think the light here cut off the table. That's very close.
Let's do these?
Yeah, see what happens.
Or claw. Okay. So we're taking a picture. Glasses. There we go. Dark glasses.
Nice.
Sunglasses, dark glasses, or shades.
And then, so what happens if you kind of bring it off to the side? Does the label start to disappear?
I believe that it turns toward you. So let's walk over here and let's see it. So I'm going like this, and I think it just stays. It stays readable to me. It fully stays with me.
So it turns the 2D, yeah, it's 2D and 3D space.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's that. Okay, so that's all I had prepared for tonight. We're still at 6:30. We have another 30 minutes here. So does anyone want to just like talk iOS stuff or ask about iOS 11 or Xcode 9? Sure.
I just saw something on the list you sent.
Mm-hmm.
The article using ARKit with Metal. And if you bring that up, they have a really neat animated picture at the top of the article.
Oh, so where is it?
This is that list you sent of all the projects that.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be in these comments, I guess?
Awesome.
No,
Awesome.
Oh,
ARKit.
gotcha.
ARKit.
Okay, so we head right here.
Yeah, the article.
See in the middle?
ARKit with Metal.
Let's see in the middle. There we go. Oh, that's
It's after, it's not a project. Go down.
okay.
It's after the articles. It's weird. I saw it. But is that a cached version?
We can refresh it.
Using ARKit with Metal. It's not showing up. Can you reload it?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay.
And you said it was on the bottom?
Yeah, right
there
there.
it is, yeah.
Second.
Oh, you must
No,
have
this one.
just posted it or updated it. Okay.
And, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
That
we're
is great.
rendering 3D graphics in the virtual scene.
That
Yeah.
is amazing.
It's pretty amazing. It's chat, isn't it? So with the sprite kit and the scene kit, you get like shapes, but they're static or probably simple motions.
Right.
Right.
If you want full 3D,
Or
you use Metal.
and also if you can customize.
Yeah,
All
totally
that.
have full control.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, they're
Big learning curve.
yeah, because you have to do. There's a lot of
It's really amazing.
It really is. Makes me think of The Borrowers, that book with the little people.
in fact,
great.
internally, most of the rendering in scene kit and sprite kit are already done in Metal, anyways. So for more flexibility, you just have to learn the API and.
Maybe with this coming up as something that's novel and interesting, how about let's go through the web page of Made with ARKit.
Exactly.
Some cool projects.
Exactly.
We talk them through and figure out how they were made. Made with ARKit. Is it made with ARKit?
Or awesome
I'm
ARKit.
curious about core location and integrating that because particularly at the university with our horrible signage systems or lack thereof, I can see a lot of potential for people wayfinding through the
Absolutely.
university using core locations.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was thinking the same thing as I was walking around all these buildings.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been talking about having signage systems for the last at least 30 years, and we're no closer, as far as I know, no closer today than we were 30 years ago.
Wow.
And yet, we're all carrying devices that are aware of where they are.
Yep.
And so laying information over top of that geographic information or geospatial information, I think, is a real natural one. I think, the AHA video is mind-boggling.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's really, really good. Yeah. It's really good.
You should watch
Should we watch it now, or?
Yeah, why not?
Let's do it.
Especially if you got speakers.
Let's see, can you hear that? Or?
Can you mute the microphone while you guys are showing that?
I don't know how to mute this thing.
Oh.
Oh, is the audio closed?
Yeah, there is sound that goes with it, but it's probably not critical.
I'm not sure if screen here. Oh, it's muted. You're
My device is muted.
You can show
YouTube.
path, you can show building 37 and
Yeah.
3D.
Exactly.
yeah. It's not going to anyway, so.
That doesn't matter.
And do we think this is probably Unity in the background?
Probably.
Unity? It's been rendered inside?
Mm-hmm. Because they just released the plugin.
Right. AR toolkit?
Yeah,
For
for
Unity?
the HICapacity.
That is nuts.
I was thinking of something similar with spatial stuff as like a social network or a game where you could leave messages or 3D things for your friends in real space.
Absolutely.
You're walking past and you get a notification and, oh, David dropped this here for me. And it's
Yeah.
a bomb or it's a note or something and it's just hovering there in 3D space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Wouldn't that be cool?
Next steps I want to do in terms of ARKit is I was talking to Che and Jesse is I want to be able to project a 3D animation on top of a coaster.
Mm-hmm.
That's an idea. So in terms of doing that, we would need to create an anchor, which we talked about.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how to do it yet, but that's really what I'm pushing for right now. That's
You
what's
want
most
to look up
interesting
plane
to me.
detection?
Plane
and
detection?
Yeah,
Anchors.
And take SCN anchor and
Yeah.
plane detection.
And I'm just gonna make a
Yeah,
note
you
real
can do it
quick.
directly with the ARKit API as well, but it's just easier with SceneKit.
Yeah, there's actually a scene, ARKit anchor, right?
Yeah, there is a ARKit. You gotta just go through the API. I was reading through the API recently. They have all the necessary stuff, but it's easier if you use SceneKit, so you don't have to do all that stuff.
The WWDC
The videos.
intro video talks about both of those things.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay. Was that the one that I linked to? I'm not sure if you saw it, but it was the WWDC.
Yeah.
Is that one? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so I saw
I
that.
didn't know about that Kickstarter thing.
Yeah, Mirror Pro. I'll show you guys that real quick. Mirror Prism. And they're a really nice website too. I think this is it right here. Yeah, so it's this thing. It's pretty nice. It looks ridiculous, but I'm really looking forward to getting one of these. Because I was telling my wife, I really want to do like a battle chess like they have in Star Wars. I'd really love to be able to play that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's that. And how about let's go through the rest of ARKit. Feel free to just say if you want me to click on one of these. Furniture.
And there's one for
Yeah, the measuring thing it's cool.
I think what's neat about that is I think that might be the one that has the big chest. And so the issue for me initially was, great, so we've got a tape measure, but how does it know how big the chest in fact is? But that's actually built into ARKit, is the ability to figure out how big things are in space.
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, using the camera, motion sensors, and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, VIO, I think. Yeah, I was reading about that. But and that special road tracking is only available for processors with the A9 and above,
Yeah.
because it's like Project Tango, but on steroids. Well,
Did
after all,
anyone see the the ARKit video where there's an architect, and they made a demo for like basically for their clients where they could take them to a job that was halfway done and show them what it would look like
Oh wow.
when it was finished.
That's amazing.
My wife and her father are in civil engineering, so I was thinking of making them an app where like they could take a client out to a site
Oh, nice.
and show them what the project would look like afterwards, like with the driveway with the
Wow.
bike or something like that. And
Absolutely.
Why not?
yeah, I was wondering like, so if you export something from like AutoCAD, I was wondering if anyone knows this. Like you can do 3D
Justin, you
rendering
know
in AutoCAD.
AutoCAD kind of stuff?
Not for real. Well, the CAD is not really that great for doing real-time 3D models.
Okay.
So you need to convert it over to a mesh model.
Yeah.
What is it
STL.
called?
Mesh, yeah, 3D mesh, because CAD is like, usually it's made up of spline lines and
Yeah.
Boolean shapes.
Okay.
So you convert it to a real-time 3D mesh. And so what would you want to display exactly? So,
Well, I got to figure it out, like the best use case. But I know they do things like driveways and road plannings and things like that.
okay.
So it would probably be something that it doesn't have to be completely photorealistic,
Yeah.
but some kind of a 3D model of like say a
Okay.
driveway put in
So-
on a hill.
So a couple options that you can do. You can 3D scan a driveway, existing one, or it's probably a lot easier just to have a 3D artist make one
Yeah.
to scale, give them the dimensions you need, and then bring it into the world. But yeah, I mean, you could if you want a 3D scan, there's an option too. You can do like photogrammetry scanning of the real thing, and then but cleaning it up is a pain. Yeah, but you're looking at things that are basically game res models, the real-time 3D models. So depending on what you get in ARKit as far as material systems, and they're using metals, I'm assuming you get some more normal game art shaders, which include a couple different surface maps for reflectivity and for surface bumpiness and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible you can make those models and then overlay them in the scene. But yeah, CAD probably want to use for measurements, but not so much the actual models. So
Yeah.
probably tools are 3D Studio Max, Maya. 3D Max doesn't run OS X though, so probably Maya. Is Autodesk product. Blender is free too.
Yeah, you can use Blender.
They
Blender.
use Maya today for their models.
Yeah.
So that would
Yeah.
then export. There's probably a way to export a Maya file that you could then import into.
Well, you can do this or Unity. Popular
Unity.
file format for that is FBX. D8 Collada is another one.
Oh yeah, Collada's a
D8,
big one.
I think
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier. OBJ is pretty popular as well, but I tend to like FBX or Collada because they contain everything in them. Like you can embed the textures and you can embed the animations in one file. OBJ only contains mesh data, and then you have to have a separate file that defines materials, and then you have the materials as a separate file too. So
FPX and Collada.
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 Collada, yeah.
It's .dae is the extension of Collada.
Oh, okay. That's what a Collada file
Okay,
is.
And
so
then,
Sync can import DE files.
Yeah. And then FBX is a proprietary format, but it's a very good format by Autodesk.
Yeah, it's an Autodesk format.
OBJ is kind of an open format that everyone can load.
Right.
It basically is mesh position points in space. And then there's a material file that is included with the OBJ file usually that determines like uses texture. And then but yeah, I mean, if you guys want to do like model stuff, it's probably another event.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's a
we need models.
Like I would do that as a separate event from iOS Meetup, but if you want to
definitely.
talk about that, I mean that's all I do all day. So in fact, they have some decent machines over here that are running software that could probably do that. Well, if they're not, they'll be eventually.
Yeah.
And they'll be okay, not Autodesk.
Yeah.
And in terms of models, I just want to kind of share one out as a source, Turbo Squid. It's what I use in terms of just like if you want to just pull down models, they have free ones as well, so you don't have to design your own. Some of them are animated as well, so it's just something to think about.
And if you want something that you know will work, look for the tag. This is Unity or Unreal Engine. Those are both game engines, so you'll know those are game res models.
Yeah.
That means they're good for real time because you have a lot of stuff on Turbo Squid that is meant for rendering and it's not spec'd for any real time rendering.
Because of the high poly models.
High poly
Oh,
models,
okay.
unpolished models, or they're just not set up well for real. They're not set up for real time. If you look for Unity, if you look for Unreal Engine, you'll find things that are meant for real time rendering. And there's another website called Sketchfab. If you want to check that out.
Heard of Sketchfab.
You want me to bring it up on here?
Yeah, sure.
Sketchfab.
So Sketchfab is cool because I'll explain it, because it actually is a WebGL. Actually, they have an iOS app as well. So if you go to Sketchfab, you actually view WebGL apps in the browser. But there's a cool part about Sketchfab that I think a lot of people don't know about. So you know right away that all these models are real-time models. So you can rotate that little model right there if you want to.
I found it.
Yeah.
Hey, Felix.
Finding it, yeah.
Oh wow.
So
And it
go
looks
to,
great.
Go to Explore.
Okay. You want to control it, Jesse?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
You can do it right on there.
Oh, I can.
Yeah. Right that screen. Right there.
Yeah. So I can go to Explore. Hover over Explore. Go to Downloadable, and you will find models that have Creative Commons downloadable ability. So like this is a 3D scan that someone did of a statue, and if I wanted to, so it's going to load it, and I can actually make this full screen and rotate it around. So there's artistic statueness there.
Oh yeah, me like it.
And then down here, there's a button that says you can download the OBJ, which is the model file that I was talking about earlier. And you can see that the license is Creative Commons Attribution. So you clearly know what the license is. TurboSquid usually is more friendly, but they have different licenses, so you gotta check it out. But it's more friendly for commercial usage. But Sketchfab has a ton of stuff that's Creative Commons licensed that you can use for testing, for building out applications. And you can just go through that whole list of all the downloadable models.
Do you guys know how we could actually go through an example of download one and import it into HICapacity, so you can see the?
I think you'd have to set it up to. Well, how are you pulling that green thing in? Is it?
It's a scene kit native.
Okay.
So it depends. So I think to do that, we need to figure out how to import the model into
Right.
There's
directly.
that line you commented, or you deleted the model.
Right. The SCN file. Honestly, I don't have enough education into that, but I'd love to do a session on that.
Yeah, we should do that. And also, there's a lot of tutorials gives you how to import those models.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can look it up.
Let's do that.
Oh yeah.
So when you get to more advanced materials, you can see the reflectivity of the model.
Wow.
Those are textures that you want that control glossiness, that control bumpiness on the surface.
Oh, normal maps?
Yeah, normal maps, metallic maps.
Oh yeah.
And roughness maps are things that we have in real-time rendering that you can use to detail out objects.
Yeah, without using too much polys.
Yeah,
amazing.
exactly. I mean, I can probably show the wireframe on this. Let's just see if I can. Well, it's like S textures. I can't. They don't let me show the wireframe anymore. Used to be able to show the wireframe render. There it is. Let's do the wireframe as black, and then we'll just make it shadeless. Oh, actually, matcap instead. There we go.
Yeah.
So that's the actual wireframe of the model. So even though the wireframe is fairly low polygon, you saw all the detail that was coming from the textures, and that's where we want to take advantage of metal to really push
It's designed for the high-end texturing and all that stuff.
If I want to download this, I can do it right there. It's completely free, so you can see the licenses is different per file, and I can use that for whatever I want. Actually, yep, this is, oh no, it's just summary. Okay, so it's Creative Commons, attribution. So I think everything in here is Creative Commons.
Nice.
And they have tags and things like that too, so you can search. But,
I think I might switch up from TurboSquid to Sketch.
Yeah, Sketchfab.
Sketchfab.
You can also upload models here too, and they have an iOS app for that. But I don't. They also have VR support, so that's a nice way to kind of
cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of VR, now that we are working with HICapacity, if anyone wants to do a tutorial for the rest of us on getting it so that we can do the split screen and we can start setting it up for the mirror prism, that would be appreciated.
For the mirror,
For the heads-up display, so you can actually do the two screens and get the 3D effect on things.
Yeah.
Or cardboard, yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I didn't know anything about models. So
That's cool. Yeah, cool. I used to work in video games, so it's like all I do now is 3D stuff. So
3D stuff, yeah, still do.
I'm just.
Yeah. Any other questions or maybe leads that you want to see researched and presented on in the future?
Yeah, we should pursue the AR kit a bit further.
Okay. And in what way?
Maybe more detailed tutorials.
Okay.
I like doing the anchors,
Okay.
learning about some of the API, which I was taught.
for next week, does anybody have any stuff that they're curious about with architecture, things that they like me to include? Basically how to structure your app?
Yeah. One thing is, what helps I've been doing is if you have large, to do like intermediate like model controllers that between your model and your view controller. That's one thing, because what I've been doing is okay, no more of these massive 5,000 line view controllers, which is crazy. So what I had to do is, using extensions really helped. Is the first step of, you know, taking all your business logic into one, all your basic, you know, your views that for the single responsibility on one page, another page file for all the intermediate stuff, then eventually refactor it into a third model, because sometimes what you don't want to see is 5,000 line, the so-called massive view controllers. They're hard to manage, and it's easy to make errors. In other words, you don't want to put any business logic into your view controller. It's just a mess.
Yeah, that's going to be the focus of the talk. Basically, my thought is I'm going to make a simple app that does a network call and displays something on the screen that works. But I'm going to include all the different mistakes that I've seen throughout the past couple of years and include them all into one app. And then we'll just go through and we'll just start pulling things out and fixing them and talking over.
That sounds great, yeah. It was really helpful the last time you did that. You structured it with errors in it and we got to fix them.
Yeah.
And also, especially with networking, because networking stuff should be done in a separate model instead into the view controller. I noticed that a lot of code tends to do that at the same time, and some weird bugs also happen. I was just reading an article which someone caught someone having the view doing the network call. That's not a good thing.
Right.
Which led to pretty strange bugs. And especially with large apps, like mine's, like I said, several hundred files, because you gotta have that one responsibility over 5 responsibility on you. That's bad. So it's a good idea to if you see your view getting massive, and doing too many responsibilities, break it apart. And if you need to have intermediate controllers, because I have to keep my models always platform independent, because I'm going to port it to Linux at some point as a server. So I have to keep the UI stuff independent from the model and the view controllers, but I don't want to put all the business logic into or UI independent but stuff into the view controllers, which contributes to this massive view controller issue. So you have a third controller which has all the UI controllers, you know, the UI stuff, platform dependent stuff, but it's different from the model. It's just an intermediate model control. I can see why people do that, because it gets too big and unwieldy, and you can get strange bugs, especially if you're dealing with network calls into that tape.
All right. We're at 10 more minutes left. I have one more thing prepared, or we can call it quits. Has anyone seen the hyper reality, augmented reality videos yet?
No.
This is this Japanese guy who put together kind of his idea, Blade Runner-esque view of what society is going to look like in the future. Okay. And it is a fantastic watch. It's like 8 minutes long, so I figured we'd finish out with that.
Okay.
I'll bring it up.
That's interesting. Where'd you get that from?
I just
Actually, if you want to give me the link here, I can put it on the screen.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll probably, you might have to just paste it from here, because I'm just gonna.
Can I copy it? Here?
Yeah. I think it's called Hyper Reality. This one right here.
This one. I'll just copy that link there.
Okay.
I gotta get the keyboard over here.
Pause this real quick.
Copy that. See if it comes over here. Oh, no.
Whoa.
What happened?
I don't think that was the right
Encodings.
info. I'm just going to look for it on YouTube Hyper Reality.
Yep.
So while that's happening, I've got sort of more, not a philosophical question, but something along those lines. I'm looking at an email that I sent 8 years ago to some people in England saying one rapidly emerging new technology is augmented reality.
I'm sorry, Colin, could you say it one more time? That glitched. I couldn't hear it.
So some people I knew were redoing an album, and I was suggesting that part of the deal they do for the album cover is augmented reality. And this is 8 years ago. Another 10 years before that, I was getting some people involved in virtual reality. And it seemed like things were just on the cusp of actually happening. And so then a year ago, or whatever, we were getting Google Glass being a big deal, and we were getting Google Cardboard being a big deal. And I guess I'm wondering, I realize that we've got a zillion phones that are going to be coming out that will be able to support this. But I guess in the back of my mind, I'm also wondering, is this something that technologists really love, or is this something that's really going to get wide adoption? And on the positive side of that, I'm thinking we don't really think of Google Street View as being that, but in effect it actually is. So, you know, usually we tend to think of these really neat demo pieces that we all go, whoa, that's really cool stuff. And yet it often seems when technology comes into play, it's not really in the form that we thought it was going to be in. It's something that's that twisted about 90 degrees and it's more approachable. So I'm not quite sure what I'm asking, except really is this the time that it's going to happen, or is it just going to be really cool demo stuff that we forget about because some other cool thing attracts our attention, and then 5 or 10 years down the line, some other it comes back in a slightly different form. So,
does anyone have ideas? You want to comment?
I think this time is different. The hardware has progressed from all these iOS devices have GPUs in them that are pretty performant, and that's never existed.
And in fact, the new iPad Pros, this thingy here, are basically comparable to a 2-core Kaby Lake processor in
So
CPU and GPU.
Yeah, the power is
cheaper
there.
too.
And then also, the way Apple's been, they've obviously put a lot into it. Tim Cook's always saying it's the next big thing. So obviously they're working on glasses, and they're gonna. Apple is the one company that's gonna come out with glasses that people are comfortable wearing.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing out that people put on their head and walk around, unless they don't want a girlfriend.
Think about Pokemon too.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, I know that's kind of dying off already, but people are nuts for it.
Yep.
Yeah, actually.
Exactly.
I think it's going to come in a way we're not thinking of. Like I saw one for restaurants where you can like point the camera at the menu and the food pops out.
Exactly.
Something like
I saw that. I saw
It's
that.
going to come out of left field. It's going to. We're not even thinking of yet.
Exactly. It's just how it's applied and how it's used. It has to be approachable. That's one
It's
of
also
the
got to be really accessible too. Like I'd never open up apps to just do one thing in a restaurant. It's like a mode on my phone where I can just like, oh, I just hit the button to quickly unlock, and then it's in that mode, and I can put it in front of the camera.
Exactly.
That's built into iOS.
Right.
That's gonna get traction. If I have to I have to download something and then open it, and then just do this one thing, that's too inconvenient to use.
Exactly. It has to be accessible.
How many people use QR codes here all the time? Because your phone doesn't, by default, doesn't support it in the camera, right?
Exactly.
But Japanese phones do, and they use it all the time.
It does in iOS 11.
It does in iOS 11, yeah. So
Yeah.
you could see a lot more usage because it's built into the native app. You don't have to download the barcode app to read them. So if they do that, I think it'll catch on.
ARKit is so accessible to developers. It's going to unleash this wave of creativity.
That's the key. Accessibility for the developers and stuff like that. They put all the features. The idea of making an accessible app is to make do all the hard work internally and make the resulting.
We're almost all developers are interested in it, but the barrier of entry is too
Exactly.
big until now.
Exactly.
So it's different.
So I kind of on the fence there because there's about 3 or 4 different AR kits on the Unity store that I can download like an AR app, and then put it on iOS or Android. The problem is the support. The audience for that is going to be small. The audience for this is instantly there.
Exactly.
and you know, like you have to download my app and then put the marker on there, and it's not because it would be consistent. It's going to be a one-off thing, but there are AR apps already, but no one here uses them because they're not in your phone as a feature.
Exactly.
You don't think about that particular thing being used every day because you don't know how good that tracking is. You don't know if you're going to use it or not.
And we don't know what exactly Apple's going to do, but the way they're progressing with this technology, it's almost like they're curating everything to bring it into the mainstream.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting they're going to do something like, everybody's making the AR apps now, but probably when Apple comes out with the glasses, there'll be some sort of like shared reality platform. To say, okay, now people can put objects out there, and everybody with Apple glasses will see the objects, and then everybody's going to move into the virtual world.
Yeah. Second Life. I remember that.
Are you guys ready for me to play this video?
Yeah, before we play it, I just want to, so we're going to shut it down after this video plays. We're just about at 7 o'clock, so if anyone needs to leave now, it's totally understandable. But I just wanted to go through, we have a few new developers here tonight, so I just want to go do an introduction real quick one last time to finish up, so I'll go first. I'm David. I really like iOS apps.
Me too. I'm Jay. I'm a developer myself, writing a major app called HICapacity. It's nearly in beta phase. I'm going to add some of those features because of the potential.
Yes.
And I'm Colin. I would not consider myself a developer, although I spend all my time on the computer. And I just try to keep on top of what's happening.
Yes.
I'm Adam. I'm an iOS developer. I'm a contractor. It's my 9-to-5 job. And I started doing a daily live stream at 2 p.m. our time on YouTube and Twitch. I'm going to share the link with David. So
Nice.
if anybody wants to join in and comment, feel free.
Is it okay if I share it out to the developers? Okay, gotcha. Cool. Tyler?
I'm Tyler. I'm just signing this Swift as a hobby.
Yep. What's that?
I'm Felix. I'm learning Swift on the side.
Yes.
Daniel, I work with supercomputers. I have a 336,000 core supercomputer that lives in California. It takes 5,000 square feet. I see personal supercomputers as the next computer revolution.
It's happening.
It's happening, but we're at the very early stages.
Yep.
And very exciting what these computers can do, but the barrier to entry has been high. It still is high. But
Cost is one of them.
yeah, the cost is high. Put a lot of money into it. But it's the coming technology, and you can do incredible things that people haven't even realized yet.
Yeah. I'm starting to realize that myself.
Up to now, it's only governments and universities and big corporations have these things, and then they use them in a way that's not that creative. They're doing it for a purpose, for this or that. They have an application, but having supercomputers in the hands of people is a new thing.
Right. I mean, some of these are almost, the new iPad's just the beginning.
The developer barrier of entry is still high. I had to put in a lot of time and effort to learn how to program things. There's different APIs available.
Exactly.
Metal or Vulkan
Or CUDA.
OpenCL for most of my compute. It's not easy. It's not like ARKit.
No, it's still very challenging because there's a lot of boilerplate and setup code you have to do with all these APIs.
It's almost like, the functionality of ARKit is enabled through the presence of supercomputers in these devices. And ARKit is the intermediary that gives us access to that power.
Right.
But it's not fully general. There will be more and more of these layers that make the power accessible.
Exactly.
And the advancement of the Moore's law with CPUs kind of stalled out
Right.
a few years back, but it never stalled out on GPUs.
Exactly.
Because they went wide with the number 4. It's still on track.
Yeah.
And the gap between CPUs and GPU power is growing exponentially, of course.
And these
So
things are,
everything-
both of these are like, for example, 12 core GPUs. I don't know how. And with some optimizations with machine learning, well, actually, I noticed that some of the stuff that NVIDIA was doing, I'm reading on their new Volta, and what Apple's doing with their GPUs, similar track, where they're utilizing some efficiencies.
The gap in power between CPUs and GPUs is so big already. I view CPUs as a legacy. It's there to boot up the GPU.
Exactly.
Eventually, all the software. We have CPUs because of legacy software reasons.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, we're on the same page.
You can buy a card now with 8K cores on one card, and each core is about as powerful as an Intel core.
Yep.
8,000.
No, the new Volta is like
So sorry, that's
ridiculous.
not on
This is
topic.
educational.
Yeah.
it's
Appreciate it.
ridiculous, but
It's ridiculous.
yeah, because the new NVIDIA Volta is massive. It has 5,000 cores, but they had the special tensor cores, basically major 16 32-bit major multiplication. But however, that card itself is about 18 grand.
Yeah.
You just keep a bunch away.
Huh?
Like
Yeah, I know. I heard about that.
All right, Justin, just to finish out the introductions, did you want to?
I'm Jesse. I work at the med school. I do a lot of 3D stuff, and I've been working in games and virtual worlds for like 10 years, over 10 years, and working in anatomy, computer, virtual reality, augmented reality. We do a lot of that kind of stuff at the med school, and we're working on spinning off businesses related to that too.
Thanks, Jesse.
Cool.
All right. So before we start playing it, if you have to go, totally understand. It's all good. But we're just gonna play it. It's like 8 minutes long or 6 minutes long. So here we go.
Go ahead and mute the audio mic.
Yep. And then we'll close it down after this play.
Fantastic. Great. Nice. Great.
Más tarde. Apúrate si quieres una buena calificación.
Voy lo más rápido que puedo.
¿Has pensado en correr? Es saludable y eficiente.
Seguro que no hay más trabajos disponibles. Yo estudié para ser profesora y estoy haciendo mercados.
Y además puedes quedarte con los puntos de fidelización. Eres una monje afortunada. Tienes que confiar en la aplicación. ¿Te sientes inspirada? Gracias. Chao.
¿Quién soy yo? No, eso no es lo que quiero decir. ¿Para dónde voy? No. Puedo volver a empezar. Olvídalo.
Estoy presente ahora. Me amo. Estoy libre de mi ira. Estoy libre de mi tristeza. El amor es mi experiencia.
Habla español. Adiós. Hola, me llamo María.
Bueno. Hola otra vez. Ay, no, cállate. ¿Qué está pasando?
Buen día, Emilio. ¿Qué puedo hacer por usted?
¿Qué está pasando? Mis puntos están bien.
No se preocupe, sus puntos están seguros conmigo. ¿Le puedo ayudar en algo más, Emilio?
Yo no soy Emilio, yo soy Juliana Restrepo.
Por favor, espere.
Hola, Juliana Restrepo. Me alegra verte. ¿Qué puedo hacer por ti?
Mis puntos están bien. ¿Qué está pasando?
Tranquila, todo está bien. Parece que alguien está intentando vulnerar su cuenta. Por favor, espere mientras reinicio su dispositivo. Hola, Juliana. Me alegra verte. Hoy te ves hermosa. ¿Estás estrenando zapatos?
Ya lo arreglaron. Tengo que seguir trabajando.
Estoy trabajando en eso, pero necesito verificar tu información biométrica. Por favor, sigue la línea azul hasta el centro de servicio más cercano para confirmar tu identidad.
Sí, pero mis puntos están bien.
Todo está bien. Chao.
¿Qué? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué? ¿Qué está pasando? No, mis puntos, mis puntos. ¿Qué hago? ¿Qué hago? ¿Qué es eso?
Si soy yo, así que vamos a tirar para adelante, dámelo.
What? Exactly.